Good morning once again, and thank you for staying tuned to Sunrise at Sea here on CTV. Today is the 27th of June 2022. It's a beautiful day. It's a Monday, and it kickstarts our week. Definitely, I'm very excited and very happy about the new day, the new dawn. And yes, welcome to our views. My name is Agi Oase, and today the ladies are joining me, and we are deliberating on a very important matter, making it very clear, and that is emotional intelligence, which is a very big aspect of our interpersonal relations and relationships in the workspace, in our homes, in our social groups, everywhere. Emotional intelligence is a very big aspect. But before we get into exactly what we are zeroing it down to, good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Aggie.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Are you excited?
Oh yeah, I am. I think I look excited, but you do not look excited.
I am happy to be here, trust me.
Okay, but Shivan looks excited.
Oh yes.
Is it because you love the conversation that we are going to carry today?
One, I like the conversation, but also I'm developing a habit of loving Monday. It is a struggle every Monday to wake up, so I gotta fake it until I make it.
Yes. In your own words, you always tell us we're here to build the nation. So yes, it's a Monday. Let's build the nation as we talk about emotional intelligence and zeroing it down to emotional intelligence in leadership. Now, emotional intelligence is the ability to manage and understand your emotions as well as of the people around you. And it has been known that people with high degree of emotional intelligence are known, they know how they feel, they know what they feel, they know their emotions, they understand them, and they actually know what they mean and how these emotions can affect them and the people around them. So like I mentioned earlier, we are zeroing it down to leadership in the workspace, in your homes. You might say, I'm not a leader. You don't have to be a member of parliament to be a leader. You can be a leader in your home. You can be a leader in your community. You can be a leader in your, how they call them, church circle.
Gathering,
those ones? A
sale.
sale, exactly.
Sale.
So leadership cuts across. So today, as we talk about emotional intelligence in leadership, it has been known that, sometimes leaders in our spaces are not emotionally intelligent. But to start off the conversation, I'd like to ask the ladies that today more than ever, do you think leaders lack in emotional intelligence or are more emotionally intelligent today than before?
Well, I think speaking of today in the workspace, I feel like many strides have been made to advance what leaders should be like, or how they should behave like in a work environment. Back in the day, yes, maybe they used to, care like, yeah, you have to be this leader who is, going to be very authoritative, very rude, and very, straight to the point, like you want results. But I feel like more than ever now, companies are more interested in bringing someone on board who is emotionally intelligent, as opposed to bringing someone who just has the intelligence. Do you get what I mean? Actually, research shows that emotionally intelligent leaders bring in more money. They make more money for the companies as opposed to leaders who are not emotionally intelligent. So for me, I feel like more than ever, I feel like we are actually working to a better space. Actually, even in interviews, they will care about your EQ as opposed to your IQ. So for me, I would think we're making progress.
We'll get to that, but Shivan, let us know, what do you think?
First of all, it's it's very important to understand even what emotional intelligence is. And I liked the way mindtools.com defined this particular one. And they said emotional intelligence is most often defined as the ability to perceive, use, understand, manage, and handle emotions of yourself, but also the people around you.
Yeah.
In regard to leadership, first of all, not everyone can be a leader, unfortunately. All animals are equal.
But some people are leaders by default.
All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others.
You do believe that some people are leaders by default?
Absolutely. Being a leader, it takes more than just being handpicked into that position. Being a leader, you're literally carrying, especially when it's a company or when it's a family, you're carrying the weight of every other person on you. So after understanding what emotional intelligence is, also worldtools.com did go on to say that there are 5 key elements when it comes to talking about emotional intelligence, and one is self-awareness.
We're going to get to that later.
Let's look at the leaders in Uganda, because I'm answering your questions. Most leaders, are they self-aware? Are they able to regulate themselves? Do they motivate? Do they have empathy and social skills? My two are empathy and social skills. Most leaders are not empathetic. And I think that's where we miss the point, because they want results, they want work done, but they are not empathetic. And they do not know what to say at what particular point in time. And that is what emotional intelligence is. Emotional intelligence is, as a leader, yes, you want results. Yes, you want a report, you want this and this accounted for, fine. But Shivan has lost her mom. Are you emotionally intelligent to understand that, okay, the report Shivan is supposed to write is for a potential bidder, but she has lost her mom? Am I going to be sympathetic and tell Shivan, take the day off? Or am I going to tell her, come in office, make this report, then you can go? Being emotionally intelligent.
So today more than ever, you think, how do you rate leaders at the moment?
Absolutely not. We are driven by, we want results, we want work, we want output. No one cares about what you're going on. That is what's going. That's why when you come to office, no one will ask you, oh, you fought with your husband. Sorry, no one cares. They want the work done. They want you at work at 8 a.m. Unfortunately, that is the way it is. It is the reality. It is not the ideal. That what makes me happy.
Anyway, there are multiple aspects, and just like Shivan had earlier highlighted, multiple aspects that are involved in emotional intelligence. One of them is self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. And I'll just give you just how this works. First of all, self-awareness. If you're self-aware, you always know how you feel. You know how your emotions and your actions can affect the people around you. And also being self-aware when you are in a leadership position also means having a clear picture of your strength and your weaknesses, so that your subordinates do not actually hold that against you. The other one is self-regulation. Now, leaders who regulate themselves effectively rarely verbally attack others, which includes their subordinates rather. They don't make rash decisions. They do not compromise their values, but also self-regulation is also about staying in control, especially if the people that you are leading, get to do mistakes. You have to be in self-control. You don't have to come off and you're backing at them and you are shouting at them. You have to be very emotionally intelligent to handle situations at hand. The other one is motivation. Self-motivated leaders work consistently towards their goals, and they have extremely high standards for quality of their work. And the other one is empathy. Shivan explained that. I'll not get into it. The other one is social skills. Leaders who do well in social skills element of emotional intelligence are great communicators. They are just as open to hearing bad news as good news. And they are expert at getting their team to support them and be excited about a new mission or a project. Now, Priva Elibas earlier mentioned that leaders being emotionally intelligent. Remember, you highlighted and you say that when they're lately leaders are more emotionally intelligent than before. And you say that they actually perform highly. However, on the other hand, if leaders are very empathetic, because we also statistics do show that leaders who are aggressive always get the work done. They always get the job done. When they are on your, you have to do this, get this done all the time, But if you are very empathetic, don't you think as a leader, you will find that you're compromising your values? Won't you find yourself in a situation where your subordinates or your employees are not doing the work because you're very empathetic? I mean, they could come up with excuses every day. Wake up in the morning, I don't feel like going to work. I call in sick. If you're very empathetic, that will happen today, tomorrow, and the other day. Actually, won't it affect the work?
I feel like an employee is most likely not going to show up to work because you're screaming at them every day, as opposed to, you being open, you being open-minded, and creating a safe space for them where they can give you both the good news and the bad news as well. So to me, I do not think being empathetic in any way affects your workflow. As a leader, at least I do not think it happens like that, because as human beings, I feel like we thrive more in environments that are less that are less toxic. Imagine you get to your workplace, from the gate man is screaming. You get to the tea girl, she's also screaming. You get to your department, they are fighting. You get it would be a toxic workplace that you wouldn't even look forward to going to work the next day. But if you have a leader that is self-aware, a leader that is more driven,
has social skills
to support the team, as opposed to just driving their ego,
being aggressive,
being ego driven. Yes. If it's that way, trust me, you're going to achieve results. Because the leader is going to think of the entire team. That leader is thinking of the entire team as opposed to their ego, as opposed to fulfilling whatever they have in the moment. So for me, no. I absolutely do
not agree.
You don't
think it will affect performance in any way?
People thrive in healthy working environments. Toxic work environments, first of all, with a toxic work environment, there's a likelihood that you're not going to retain your employees. Yes, you have employees coming in every single months here and there, months here, and it's because something is missing, something is lacking. You don't know how to work with your employees, you don't know how to retain them, you don't know how to keep clients. Like, the whole environment is just super toxic. It's okay for you to fight with your partner back at home. It's okay for you to get a speeding ticket on your way to work, but then differentiate them when it comes to dealing with your employees or the people that are under your team. You understand? For me, that's being emotionally intelligent.
There is something Aggie mentioned when she was asking you the question, and you said statistics show that is it bosses or leaders who are more aggressive
they get the work done.
The question is, at what cost? Very many times we want to get the job done, but at what cost? At the cost of employees leaving the company, at the cost of employees being depressed, at the cost of people being stressed. Have you ever been in a work environment and you're a leader? You see, there's a difference between fear and respect. As a leader, you're supposed to be respected.
Yes.
But unfortunately, in Uganda, our leaders are feared. Like, even the people you hire cannot send you a WhatsApp even to say happy birthday. Like, what kind of leader are you that when you enter an organization, people are helter-skelter looking for where to hide? Then that already is not being a good leader. Secondly, why do you have to use aggression as a leader? Who are you? What point are you trying to prove? Already you are a leader. We know. So what's your problem? So I also get perturbed when already you're a leader. We know you're in power, but again you're trying to assert your power. It is known. So the mere fact that you're doing that and trying to assert and showing the people that you're leading that, hey, guess what, boss, I am the boss, then there is also a problem. But also there's something I wanted to highlight, and you mentioned empathy. How many times have we had statements like when you say, I did not have supper last night, I did not have dinner last night, and someone will boldly come and tell you, where people have bigger problems than you. Emotional intelligence. Do you know that there are leaders who will boldly tell you that? You will tell them, for example, my child is sick and is not well, and they'll tell you, the truth is, there is actually someone having a bigger problem than you're having right now. But again, that is a problem that you're dealing with. My problem cannot be not solved because my colleague's problem is bigger, and therefore my leader should not be emotionally intelligent because just me, I'm having a small toothache. No. I think when it comes to being empathetic, we should learn to understand that we come from all walks of life. People go through different scenarios. There are people who get heartbroken and the next day they're okay. Me, when I get heartbroken, I take a month to recover. It will take a leader who is emotionally intelligent to understand that Shivani is an emotional person. If she got heartbroken, she'll probably not be at her best for a week. And understand that, but again, you want the job done. The problem is that leaders want the job done, but they do not care about the cost.
Because people are working in fear.
You do not care about someone's mental health.
Yeah,
exactly.
So for me, actually, just to add on to what Shivani is explaining, I remember you and I and a certain friend of ours, we were having a conversation about emotional intelligence, and I think he did mention the fact that he was working on a set of one of the biggest movies, and their leader at the moment was a certain lady. And it got to a point where they could not get the work started. It took them almost 2 hours to get something, moving. So what she did, she said, you know what? It's okay, let's take a break. 2 hours off, call your family members, speak to your children, have lunch. She even brought her kids on set. You understand? And after those 2 hours, it didn't even take them 30 minutes. They got the job up and running. So for me, it makes me wonder if women actually make better leaders as opposed to men, because of the natural instinct of women being empathetic enough. Yes, exactly. And I remember asking our producer some time back, like, do you think women actually make better leaders? Of course he said no, but
well, you might say that women make better leaders because they are more empathetic. But then again, emotional intelligence is not just about empathy. But
it's a core value.
We have seen leaders, ladies in workspaces. Well, I have talked to multiple friends of mine who tell me, I have a boss, she's a lady. I wake up every day, I want to go to work, but I'm wondering how I'm going to meet this person. So I don't think it's just about empathy. It's about everything entailed in emotional intelligence. But let's talk about how can we draw the line. How can leaders draw the line between being empathetic, or you can say being emotionally intelligent, and getting the job done without being compromised without also being compromised. Because Siobhan earlier mentioned that, you know, you could, I mean, we treat breakups differently. You might be someone who will recover after a month, but you need to show up to work and you have to do the work.
But I expect that
isn't
my
it
boss,
upon you as an individual, yes, while your boss has to understand that you are going through it, that you also should understand that they also need the work to be done.
But also,
so it goes both ways.
But also, are you aware that a boss will come out and say that they are not paying you for you to bring here your problems of being heartbroken? You see why we need counselors in organizations. Meanwhile, but to answer your question, it's a very thin line. You know, sometimes you want to be empathetic, but again, the truth of the matter is that you want the job done. For example, if one of us did not show up on Sunrise at 2 in the morning, automatically someone else will have to sit in for that person. Why? Because the show has to go on. Because in a way, work has to go on. So as a leader, the question, like the question that you've posed, it would be, yes, Siobhan, you're going through this. You have a job to do. Sit down, talk to your leader. Now, very many times our leaders like to hear. They don't want to listen. There's a difference between hearing and listening. Have a conversation with your boss, with your superior, and say, you know what, depending on how close you are, because also there are some bosses that you can't come ranting to that have been broken, or this happened, or I am sick, and they will take it, you know, lightly. For some people, be like, no, you need to show up to work. But sit down and talk to them and you say, this and this has happened to me. I will not be performing at 100%. Now, if the person that you're leading has come out to explain something like that to you as a boss, try to be empathetic, understand and say, okay, I understand what you're going through. I understand your mom is sick. I understand your child is in ICU. However, will you be able to bring productivity? Will you be able to get the job done? Maybe the question would be, do you want to work on some days and skip other days? Do you want to work for shorter hours? So in a way, it's an arrangement. But what will the leaders of these days tell you? No, you have to come to work. A heartbreak is not an issue. Mental health is not.
Is it though?
Those are an issue. Let me tell you something, and we like to downplay these things, and I am very strong about them. We like to pretend that when our hearts, I'm just highlighting on it because I've seen very many people downplay this, but it's not as funny as it is, because I have been through a heartbreak. I've seen people who have been through heartbreaks and their careers have fallen. But it takes an emotionally intelligent leader to understand that aspect and keep even the team member on board, and you'll be surprised, he or she might even perform better as long as there is cordial relationship. Again, as a leader, what relationship do you have with the people that you're leading? Are they able to come and even tell you that, hey, you know what, last night I actually didn't have something to eat, or I have something as simple as a headache? If everyone is always running away from you as a leader when you come into an organization, you will never know what people are going through, never. And that is the first sign of failure, right there. I've never been a leader. I do not want to be, please.
You might be.
I just want to build my own capacity. But I think it's important that leaders just develop a good working relationship with the people that they lead.
Actually, just to, you know, supplement on what Siobhan said, on top of, you know, having a working relationship with your employees, it helps you know how to resolve conflict within the team. You know, at the end of the day, if, yes, we're in a team and let's say Aggie is our leader and maybe I haven't done something right, or maybe I've, you know, made a mistake here and there, instead of calling me out in front of the entire group, Ag is going to take me to a good, emotionally intelligent leader. Is going to take me aside and say, you know what, Priva, this is not what I expect of you. Priva, how can we make this better? Priva, I want you to bring your productivity out. How do we get there? How do we achieve that? And I think the other aspect for me is accountability. Yes, our leaders, some of our leaders fail on that aspect of accountability, because instead of, you know, saying, oh, maybe this was actually my issue, this was actually my problem, this was actually my fault as a leader, or maybe if I did this differently, this wouldn't have happened, so let me be accountable for this. They tend to scapegoat. Someone else is, you know, caught in the mix, and then they deflect, and, you know, it's someone else's problem, it's never theirs. So for me, I feel like a good leader knows where to attribute accountability. At the end of the day, you know, if you are responsible for something, you're going to accept it as opposed to blaming someone else in your team. Yeah.
Okay, but to add on what Priva was saying, and while we're talking about, you know, developing a good working relationship and, you know, accountability, among the benefits when you're a leader, let's say in a business or even at home, getting to know your subordinates is very important, because you get to understand them. Okay, my slogan, I was once advised never to mix work and friends, but anyway, when you get to understand the people that you're leading, it's easier to get to know them like on a friendly scale. That means for example, I'm Aggie's boss. I'll get to know, oh, Aggie likes black, you know, she likes to wear certain types of heels, she likes to wear certain makeup. I'll also get to know your strength, even things that I might not have known around the job criteria, but I may understand, oh, she likes to communicate, she's very good at communicating. That means she can do well in the communication department. That I wouldn't have known if I hadn't taken the initiative as a leader to get to understand who is Aggie away from work. I think leaders also need to invest in the people that they lead and just get to understand, be intentional, get to understand who is this person, where do they come from. You might be there among the people that you're with in the same organization. They belong to your first family and you don't. Okay,
let's talk about how emotional intelligence can affect our lives, and we're talking about both rather positive and negative. Now, it does affect your performance at school or work. Now, high emotional intelligence can help you navigate the social complexities of the workspace, lead and motivate others, and excel in your career. That is one. The other one is your physical health. If you are unable to manage your emotions, you are probably not managing your stress either. And this can lead to serious health complications. You can talk about stress, you can talk about depression, among others. Oh yes, the other one is your mental health. Emotional intelligence does affect your mental health vividly. Now, uncontrolled emotions and stress can also impact your mental health, making you vulnerable to anxiety and depression. If you're unable to understand, get comfortable with or manage your emotions, you'll also struggle to form strong relationships. The other one is your relationships. By understanding your emotions and how to control them, you are better able to express how you feel and understand how others feel as well. And it also does affect your social intelligence. Being in tune with your emotions serves a social purpose, connecting you to other people and the world around you. Now, here's the thing. While we talk about emotional intelligence among leaders, let's also talk about the led. If you're at home, your father, your mother in the family, you might say, oh my goodness, my dad is not emotionally intelligent. He's always, backing at me. He's always, all these emotions. You might say at work, my boss is always not understanding of this and that. But don't you think we, as the ones being led, we also in one way or another contribute this? Maybe we do not understand where these leaders are coming from, or we actually want to take advantage of their empathy, and when they realize that, they'll be like, you know what, I think now I need to be harder on this person. So we, as the ones who are being led, don't you think we need to do better and also be emotionally intelligent?
Oh yes, it's a two-way street at the end of the day. You also need to understand what your part is, what you need to get done at the end of the day. So yeah, it's a two-way street, definitely. It is a two-way street. But for me still, I feel like it's more on the leaders. I mean, you're leading a whole
team. Or maybe
team.
it's because you're not in that position.
No, it's not even about being in that same position, but I feel like most of our leaders tend to, how would I put it, for lack of a better word, think they're always right. Does that make sense? Like there's no wiggle room for you to even slide in an opinion or even talk about anything, because that's what we are taught. On paper, a leader should make the decision, should do this and do that and do that. But I think maybe we need to get away from that. Like I said, times are changing. People are caring more about your EQ as opposed to your IQ. So for me, I feel like it's more on the leader as opposed to the people that you're even leading. But still, it's a two-way street at the end of the day.
Unfortunately or fortunately, and to concur with what Priva said, as a leader, the world, we just cannot be easy on you. You're the leader. Like in short, you're the leader. You're the one supposed to carry all of us and represent us. So we cannot be there and say, okay, you're the leader, take charge. But the way you do it is what matters. However, it is very important that we understand that leaders are also human beings.
Oh, yeah.
They are God. They are not gods. Very many times we think leaders have it figured out. Maybe he came in and maybe said a random word to you and you're angry, or maybe he was supposed to pay you for a service done and the money did not come through, and then you're all disgruntled and you're complaining that the money hasn't come through, or he's mean, she's mean, she's not being understanding. The question is, you as a person who is complaining that the leader is this and this and this, what have you done about it? Are you not a contributing factor? Because if we are looking at the aspect of understanding that leaders are also human, even them, they get tired.
Yes.
Even them, they have emotions.
Plus, when you talk about you had a bad day or a bad night and you're waking up to work, they could have also had a bad night.
Exactly. But you see, again, it takes emotional intelligence. It's a two-way street on both the leader and the person this side.
You know, maybe that's why they say not everyone can be a leader.
Exactly. Because you'll walk into maybe your CEO's office, or you walk into the general manager's office, and you're telling them your problems, and you're saying, I've not paid rent, my child is sick, there is no money, when are you paying us? And you do not know that your leader's mom is probably in ICU fighting for her life because he or she lacks money. So you see,
but you see, as a leader, like, I think maybe it goes back to us understanding emotional intelligence, like how you guys described it at the beginning. It's being able to understand and perceive your own emotions, but also the emotions of others.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
So for me, if I were a leader in that position and one of my team members came in and said, you know what, I'm unable to maybe be productive today because of XYZ, as a leader I'm not going to say, but you know what, I also left home, also have this problem. Find a way to empower them.
Exactly.
You understand? Find a way to empower them without you bringing out your own issues and then making them feel bad for even opening up at the same time, because now what are you helping?
But also
you're not resolving anything.
Exactly.
So yeah, for me, I feel like still a leader, you're either a leader or you're not a leader. And
but you can be a leader in your home. You can be a leader in your home and you fail at it.
Yes, it's possible.
There's only one leader in a home. That is the ideal. That is the man.
No. There are households that don't have men.
That are led by women.
Yes,
they're led by women.
The ones that don't have men, then it is the woman. Absolutely. I don't dispute that.
Or maybe you're the firstborn at the end of the day. Maybe
and
your parents could be away
on you.
all the time.
Okay,
and
can we just make work easier for the people in leadership positions? Because you see, you never know how hard, you can never know how hard someone's job is until you have walked a day in their shoes. Like I said at the beginning, maybe I've been a leader and one day or the other, but I don't think I would want such a position at this point in my life, because already handling my emotions alone is a big deal for me now. If I put on my emotions and I put on yours,
someone else's
one of us will leave the company.
Well, but okay. What I wanted actually to speak on is the fact that people say emotional intelligence cannot be learned, like it's something that you're born with. No, you're not born with. You're not born with that. Yeah, it's you. If you're born with that, good for you. But this is something that you can learn at the end of the day. So if you're a leader, and let's say the way Siobhan described herself, like she wouldn't be able to take that on. If they gave her that responsibility now, I feel like it is something that you can learn. Yeah, you can learn and figure out how to.
And be receptive to learning, because sometimes leaders feel they are it all.
I know everything. I'm never wrong.
If you're my subordinate, I don't want to listen to what you have to say. Maybe I downplay how important your advice could be, especially if it attacks my personality as a human being. So I think leaders should actually be receptive to advise even from their subordinate, because you're not God at the end of the day.
That one idea that could change the entire company could be lying with one of your team members, but because you think you're always right, you're always making the decisions, you're missing out at the end of the day. And like I said, you're not making money for the company that way. You're not.
One aspect of emotional intelligence is to also, as a subordinate, when your boss is overreacting, or when the person, your superior or your supervisor, is overreacting, when you think they're overreacting, or when they're constantly calling you out, also it takes emotional intelligence to sometimes understand that most times when bosses or leaders, or even in family, when people come at you like that, it's a deflective mechanism. Very many times those people are battling demons of insecurity and low self-esteem, yes, and trauma. Why would you wake up in the morning and start throwing tantrums at me unless you're having an issue at home? So there is a friend of mine who once told me that she was working in a company and her boss was so terrible. He was a misogynist, constantly throwing tantrums at her, calling her out for things that did not even matter. But later on, she got to realize it is sort of a mechanism that he would attack you before it dawned on him. It's a deflective mechanism. So it's very important also to understand that sometimes people can be harsh, not because that they want to be harsh, but because they're deflecting something. It is a mechanism. It sort of makes them feel more important and more mature, more in control when they're talking down on someone. Now you who is being talked down on, it takes also emotional intelligence to when to ignore, when to react, and when to step away. Very important.
Because fire cannot put out fire.
Fire, yeah.
It depends on what fire. Let's not.
I mean, if your boss is throwing tantrums and you're also throwing tantrums, I mean, fire cannot put out fire. It takes emotional intelligence on your part to understand and maybe be quiet and let it go.
Want to excuse yourself from that equation? Yes.
So let's talk about emotional intelligence in our personal lives. We've really talked about leadership. I know we also lack in that area as human beings.
Or personal life.
Personal life, that includes relationships, could be with your spouses, it could be with your friends as well. And you know, emotional intelligence is one big aspect when it comes to interpersonal relations. It affects your relationships in one way or another. If you're the kind of person who's a Debbie Downer on a daily, your friends will get tired of you. So let's talk about that. How can we be able to improve our emotional intelligence in our social circles, in our personal lives? Let's leave leaders. Let's talk about us.
Okay, so about us, listening to our friends. We like to say, I remember several times we have discussed, and it's unfortunate that Sarah is not here, and she likes to say, why should friends be your ride or die? Why do I have to constantly be there for you? Now, I understand that sense of entitlement. However, if I came and told you, for example, Priva, you hurt my feelings, you did not come for my birthday. Yes, you had something important that you're taking care of, but be emotionally intelligent to say, okay, first of all, start by apologizing. Then tell me why you did not attend. But do you know what most of us will do? Now it will okay, I had other things going on. Like, how?
I think my life revolves around
exactly. You think my life now me, I am the kind of person, because of the way I was brought up, I like to express myself. So if I have arranged, let's say, I'll give an example. There is a time. So there is a time I've remembered.
That's coming for us.
I remember there's a time we were meant to hang out, and you did not show up. I texted her and said, but you people, you have hurt my feelings.
Who didn't show up, Shivan?
Both of you. Anyway. So the way Priva responded, and you said, oh, sorry, but you know this and this, and you know the car issues. I'm like, oh, okay, that is okay. But not very many people will do that. So it takes an emotional and intelligent person that to understand that, okay, I've hurt someone, even though you have a credible reason as to why you are not able to come or even do what you are meant to do. But
at
acknowledge
exactly
acknowledge that you've hurt someone. In the same way, in a relationship, you know, you may not intentionally want to hurt your partner, but certain things, some people say we lie to our partners to save them from the bitter truth, the truth that they will not be able to handle. It takes, again, an emotionally intelligent person to understand that, oh, maybe the reason why, but this one is a bad one. I was going to say the reason as to why my spouse, my girlfriend did not tell me that she had a child is maybe she was saving me from the trauma. But no, if you have a child, it's important that you tell. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes we shall withhold information from the people that we love because we do not want, yes, Aggie, because we do not want to see them suffer or even go through pain. Like the way people.
But is it a good thing? Because I mean, that is like procrastinating your suffering. Because eventually, I mean, if let's say you want to pursue a relationship, like long-term relationship with this person, and you are withholding the fact that you have a child, in one way or another, or along the way, they will eventually find out. So what's better? So to tell them before, so that they can make an informed decision on whether to go ahead or to find out later. First of all,
that's just an example. But the best way you can handle that is, when the time is right, sit down and talk to them. Tell them where you're coming from. Also, do not allow to start dating before you completely know the biography of your partner.
And they are trying to be sensitive to your emotions. And they want it. Priva, what do you have to say about that?
Well. For me, I think one of the ways that we can be emotionally intelligent in our personal lives is having more empathy, being more empathetic. You know, I like talking about empathy and, you know, compassion and love and all those things, because I feel like if you have that, you're able to keep in mind what the other person is feeling. Yeah? And just like, you know, Shivan explained it is easy for you to understand that, hey, if Shivan is mad at me because of X, Y, Z, at that moment, it doesn't matter even what I was doing. It's not about me. It's about Shivan. Shivan is telling me how she feels in the moment. So if you have that empathy, you're going to understand that, okay, fine, she had her own expectations. I let her down. I had a valid reason, but that doesn't, you know, take away the fact that this person is hurt. So for me, being emotionally intelligent requires so much empathy, and I think I have that.
Oh, you do. But also,
you may. I think I have that, but too much empathy is not a good thing.
Because I was going to say, like, don't you think when we talk about, you know, empathetic, again, is a reason why people
take advantage of you.
walk
Yes,
over other people and, you know, talk down on them because they
empathetic.
know, oh, she'll understand, you know, she'll be like, oh, maybe she had a bad day, that is why she's acting this way towards me. Again, it's...
No, I think you know the reason why I'm saying empathy for our thing, for our personal lives, is because for me it has worked for me. Most of my friendships have lasted even more than 10 years, and I can tell you that it has been built on stuff like empathy and compassion. You're able to understand how your friend feels. You're able to, you know, you may not help them in the moment, but maybe you have the right words to tell them. You know, so for me, and it doesn't come from anywhere else, but you just being empathetic. Honestly, so for me, there's nothing like too much empathy. Okay. No, there's nothing like that. At the end of the day, it's what strengthens our relationship, our friendship, because you understand your person, you understand your friend.
Okay, now yes, just like the ladies mentioned, these are some of the ways that you can improve your emotional intelligence. One of them is observe how you react to people. And some of the questions that you can ask yourself are: do you rush to judge other people when they are talking to you, whatever they are? Do you rush to judge people, or you sit down to actually first understand why they did what they did, so that you can make, you know, an informed decision, or whatever it is that you have to come to agreement with later on. The other one is do self-evaluation. Try out emotional intelligence quiz, an emotional intelligence quiz. Try to ascertain what are your weaknesses as a human being. Are you willing to accept that you are not perfect? And that is very important. First comes acceptance, and then everything falls into place. The other one is examine how you react to stressful situations. And here you have to ask yourself, do you get upset every time there's a delay in something? Oh my goodness, this is very important. You know, sometimes you've made your food order and it comes probably 1 hour.
Leave food
you understand?
alone.
No, I'm just saying that is also part of emotional intelligence. And then, you know, your delivery person brings your food, and first thing is you are throwing a tantrum. You've not understood, was there traffic? Were there delays, you know, at the restaurant?
Many orders,
yes, as an emotionally intelligent person, at least try ask this person, why did my
but
order
also the
come
one
late
delivering,
today?
you call and communicate and tell your client what's going on.
But
You
if
say
they
it's
have
a
no
2-hour
airtime,
traffic.
sometimes they don't have
Really?
airtime. But at least they have made the effort to make it. So either way, try understand why are they late. I mean, there could be multiple factors that have, you know, influenced that kind of situation. However, ladies, you're parting shots in regard to emotional intelligence.
Oh my God, I feel like everyone should be emotionally intelligent. At the end of the day, you need to have that. It's one of the values that, as we're advancing in our lives, whether it's work, whether it's personal friendships and relationships, you need to be emotionally intelligent for you to make it to the other side. At the end of the day, for me, if we are to pick between having an emotionally intelligent leader as opposed to having someone who just has the intelligence, the intelligent quotient, the IQ, no, I would go for the emotional intelligent, because at the end of the day, you are able to create a safe working environment for your team members. You're able to get the work done, and you're making your company money. Yes, you're bringing them money. It's not about those, you know, bulldog bosses, I beg your pardon, who come and make so much noise that are getting the work done. No, you're stressing your people out. You're stressing everyone out. You're affecting their productivity. So be emotionally intelligent as a leader. If you don't have it now, it's something you can work on. Like we did express, it is not something that is inborn. You can learn this. You can learn this.
Okay.
Yeah.
My parting shots would be: one, there is no school, unfortunately, that teaches emotional intelligence. So the best way to gain emotional intelligence is that put yourself in that person's shoes. Walk a day in their shoes. Then maybe you'll understand where they're coming from.
For me, mine would be take responsibility. As a leader or as an individual, you need to take responsibility for your actions and how they have affected other people. In the event that you have hurt someone, be courteous enough to apologize. I mean, people will always be receptive to apologies for as long as you make the effort to actually apologize. It's very important as a leader and as a human being to own up and always take responsibility for your actions and not always trying to play the blame game. It doesn't work. Anyway, you can connect with us on our social media platforms. That is Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at CTV Uganda. Let us know what you think about emotional intelligence and how, as human beings, we can improve our emotional intelligence. And that winds up what we had for you on Our Views this morning. Keep watching Sunrise at Sea and don't blink.
Well, the show has finally come to an end. I do hope that you are able to pick a thing or two, especially from the conversation that we had in regard to emotional intelligence. Like I said, there is no school that will teach you how to be emotionally intelligent. The best way is to walk a day in someone's shoes. If you think your leader, your boss, whichever it is, your father, your mother is being tough, have you ever been a parent before? If you have not, please do not Wisec. Otherwise, from the team and I wish you a lovely, lovely start to your week. Keep watching Sunrise at Sea and don't click. Also, do not forget that we have a lunch, more of like a mid-morning breakfast party. So that is the brunch time request. Don't click.